You want to know how bad Total Recall for the Commodore 64 is? Well, let me put it this way. If over half the people who slammed Total Recall for the NES played this game, I fucking guarantee that they'd take their comments back in a heartbeat. In fact, this game is so mind-numbingly awful that I can't believe the game designers put their real names on it. If they were really smart, they should have just claimed that some pirate software company made the damn thing and washed their hands of it. But in any event, even if they did that, it would still exist. So let's get it over with. Total Recall for the Commodore 64. Normally when I begin a review, I can start by saying something nice about the graphics. But I can't say anything nice in this case. Christ, this fucking game looks ugly. You got your hideous dog vomit yellow ground and your shit brown bricks in the background. It just looks fucking horrible. And what the fuck is this place supposed to be anyway? The Wizard of Oz's whorehouse? Seriously, does this look like anything even remotely related to the film? If this game didn't have the words Total Recall in it, would you really think it was based off that film? I sure wouldn't. I would think it was a level of Super Mario Brothers as reinterpreted by a meth head. And look at what they did to Arnie! They turned him into Captain Ramrod of the USS Reach Around. Didn't anybody associated with this game know that there's more colors in the palette than puke yellow, shit brown, and pale violet? About the only good thing I can say is that at least they didn't dress him up in pink, but big whoop, like that would have mattered. And as if the graphics weren't repulsive enough, they were nice enough to include a pair of lungs on the lower right-hand side of the screen. Gee, thanks for the anatomy lesson, guys. I really wish I could say that the graphics were the worst part of the game, but unfortunately it's only the tip of the iceberg. The controls in this game are sluggish, and the jumping in particular is a nightmare. This is one of those games where if you press up, the character jumps up and forward. And this type of jumping can be particularly annoying when you're trying to clear obstacles because Arnie's character bounces off the fucking walls like he's mad at a flubber. But what makes it even worse is that the game isn't consistent. Sometimes you can jump into walls and bounce off them, and sometimes you can pass right through the walls and get killed or fall into some trap like this part. How in the fuck could I pass under and through a wall when a few seconds earlier I was bouncing off it like a fucking racquetball? What makes the jumping even more annoying is that sometimes you can bounce off an object, fall into a pit, and get killed even though you didn't mean to go in that direction. Even worse is when Arnie's character falls. Instead of being able to control his direction, he just drops like a fucking stone. Occasionally this drop is useful when you want to kill enemies with Arnie's butt. Unfortunately, it's much less useful when it comes to avoiding enemies and obstacles that can kill you. This game is so glitchy and badly programmed that even basic jumps can get you killed. Look at this shit! How the fuck could my head pass right through the fucking floor and touch a lethal beam? Isn't that supposed to be a solid object? But no, not in this game. This game likes to play loose and fast with its rules. Dear Christ, you can even be harmed by objects that you can't see. Like this part here. I jump up and I shouldn't hit any beam, but apparently the game registers a hit and takes away some of my life. If you look in the dictionary under the word fair, you'll find many things associated with it, but this game won't be one of them. Most of all, what's really odd with the jumping is that occasionally you can kill enemies by jumping up through them. This is the only game I know of where you can not only kill enemies by landing on them with your ass, you can also kill them by sticking your head up their ass. The gameplay is boring as shit. All you do is run through a semi-maze-like level, kill some bad guys, and get to a phone booth at the end. Wowee! That only sounds like every other generic side-scrolling adventure game I ever played in my life. People bitch about the NES and Amiga versions of Total Recall, but at least they had something to do with the fucking movie. At least they had some set pieces from the film. What has this game got? Oh yeah, you collect some oxygen icons for extra points. Holy shit, you guys are sticking really close to the source material. But in all seriousness, if it doesn't affect gameplay in any way, then why fucking put it in there? If they made collecting the oxygen icons a necessary side quest, then that would enhance gameplay. But it doesn't matter except for maybe gaining some more points at the end of the level. In fact, nothing you do in this level matters except surviving. There's no puzzles to solve, no tasks to complete, no boss to fight, there's nothing. Like Cobra for the C64, this game epitomizes dull, generic gameplay. Those problems alone would be enough to sink the game, but then you can also add in such flaws as bad enemy AI. Jesus Christ on fucking LSD, look at these bozos. What, if they got a fucking spastic colon or something? And since the game designers can make enemies who can stand and shoot and others who can duck and shoot, do you think they can make enemies who can do both? Why, of course not! That would be asking too much out of them. Yet another flaw is the awful hit detection. For example, sometimes bullets that should hit you pass right through you, while other times bullets that you fire pass right through enemies without harming them. I don't believe this. Was this game even tested, or did all the programmers go out and get bombed on Jägermeisters? So according to this game's fucked up logic, sometimes you can shoot enemies while ducking, and sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't shoot standing enemies, sometimes you can. Am I the only one who would like to see a little consistency in the hit detection? I hope not. Apparently simple shit like spell checking was beyond these people. Utilize is fine because that's UK spelling, but briefcase? I guess the game programmers went to the irate gamers school of spelling. Oh, and as we enter the second level, let's not forget pursuers. Great! Now the game programmers are operating off the crisp bores I couldn't use a fucking spell checker to save my life principle lol. The graphics in the second level are slightly more bearable than the ones in the first, but then again that's kinda like saying I have a slightly less severe case of herpes than you do. But this level quickly pisses away what little goodwill it's earned by giving you even worse controls than the previous level. The car's controls are so fucking sluggish that you literally have to pound on the directional button multiple times to move 90 degrees in any direction. Not to mention the fact that the controls are so unresponsive that half the time the car won't even turn when you want it to. For an added little kick in the nuts, the game only gives you 54 seconds to get used to the controls. So I hope you're a real fast learner. If like me you're not, then you're gonna need one of the game's 3 extra continues. And even after using all 3 of those, you still probably won't be used to the feel of the car. Once you finally adapt to the terrible controls, the game fucks you over yet again. How, you might ask? By making the level into a maze, of course! As it turns out, you have to drive along a certain path and make certain jumps with enough speed to clear them, and you have to reach the spaceport in under a minute, otherwise you're fucking screwed. Sure, it might sound easy, but the game has a number of ways to mess you up. For one thing, if you take the wrong path, you'll end up on an island and not have enough speed to clear the second ramp, so essentially you either just have to kill yourself or let the time run down. For another thing, if you miss the speed icon or you run out of speed for whatever reason, you will not be able to clear the jumps. Try it and you'll lose a life no matter how close you get to the other side. For a third thing, the map in the upper left-hand corner is fucking useless. Basically, this is one of those types of levels where you have to keep on fucking up again and again to figure out where you have to go. That alone might not have been so bad, but the problem is after you lose your 1 life in 3 continues, you have to go back to this! The only good thing I can say about this driving level is that it's short, and once you know what you're doing, you can get through it with few problems. Now after this travesty, you would think the game designers would say, okay, let's give the player an actual level that's fun. But what did these geniuses give you? Why, another driving level, of course! And as terrible as the previous driving level was, this second one is so fucking horrible that it's borderline unplayable. How much worse than the previous level could it possibly be? Well here, let me give you a clip to show you. 4 seconds, people. 4 lousy fucking seconds and the car's already killed me. That's not a fighting chance, that's a fucking joke! In fact, this level is so fucking terrible that I need a Levels from Hell review just to cover everything that's wrong with it. But I can sum up all the aggravation this level's given me with one word. The last level of the game rehashes the same bad, tired platforming in the first level. And the only new additions to the gameplay are these beam wall obstacles that can kill you almost instantly and make the platforming even more aggravating than it already is. Also, just for shits and giggles, the game decides to toss in a new enemy, the retarded offspring of Jar Jar Binks and C-3PO. This enemy might have posed some threat to you, except for the fact that you can blow it up with explosive bullets or just knock it down with your regular gun and run away. I wish I could say that the game designers had something great lined up for this last level, but it's not the case. Overall, this level, like the rest of the game, bears so little resemblance to its source material that they may as well name the whole damn thing Little to No Recall, because that's what the fucking game designers were suffering from. The second half of the film is almost completely absent from the game, and there's no boss battle with Laurie, or Benny, or Richter, or Cohagen. Admittedly, the ending does redeem the game a little bit because it's more faithful to the film than the game was, but unfortunately it's a case of too little too late. And is it just me, or does it look like Mars is covered with shit in this picture? Oh yeah, and they forgot the fact that the top of the pyramid was blown off at the end of the film. Plus they were standing on the damn thing looking out at Mars, not standing away from it looking at the whole intact pyramid. Ah, details. Who needs them when you can make up whatever shit you like and then stick it in a game? So in conclusion, I implore anybody who slammed Total Recall for the NES to play this game. Once you've done so, I'm sure you'll understand why I defended the Nintendo version. Despite its flaws, it, along with the Amiga version, is a far more worthy adaptation of the film than this piece of shit could ever hope to be. This is Film and Stuff signing off. Thanks for watching. This is the only game I know of where you can not only kill enemies by landing on them with your ass, you can also kill them by sticking your head up their ass.